The stream will begin in 5 minutes. The stream will be live in 4 minutes. The stream will be live in 3 minutes. The stream will be live in roughly 2 minutes. The stream will be live in roughly 1 minute. Hello friends and enemies, good morning. In the course of time that I was setting up, it looks like I lost a viewer. So, hello, um, hi. This is going to be my first attempt at doing a ranked list. Yeah, and I'm doing it of vocal sense. Yay! I found a bunch of the voice banks here on this list. Like, I know most of them. I own almost none of them. But the ones I do own, I will rank. The ones I don't own, I'll put into don't own, and then I'll just, based off of character design, throw them randomly and hope I land somewhere. But immediately after that, we're going to be having a detailed discussion about the state of trans rights throughout the West. So I hope you are prepared for that. It will be heavy topic matter, which is why I'm starting with the light-hearted stuff. I'm also running entirely off of the MacBook and do not have my fan on me, so this is probably going to only last as long as... Oh, hey Izzy! This is probably only going to last as long as I can keep the computer running without it exploding, so... Yay! As I said, I will be putting the ones I don't own in the don't own category until such time as we get to the point where I know for sure what I'm doing. Some of these characters are not associated with a voice bank that I own, but some of them are associated with a voice bank that I own, but I don't recognize the characters, so call me out in chat. if you think it might be one that I actually do own. Um, so yeah, um, let's go ahead and get started. This one, I don't even have a clue. And this one, and this one, and like most of this top line. Most, not all. So let's go ahead and get the top line situated. The first one that I know that I own off of this top line here is Amy. Um, she is more multi-purpose than her male counterpart. However, I haven't used her that much as a lead vocalist. I'm going to go ahead and put her in A because I have no set opinions on her voice quality as of yet. I have not used her as a soloist that much, as I said. I know for a fact I don't own this one. Don't own this one. Don't own this one. I do own Arzloid. Hold on. That would be my dinner. Hang on. Thank you. Have a good rest of your day. Okay. Alright. So, where was I? Right, Arzloid. I have not had the chance to actually use him in a song yet. However, I have done some tests, and from what I can tell, his extended banks do bump him up from a C to a B. So I'm going to go ahead and put him there. Let's see. I know for a fact he's not been released yet. Ivana, Queen, Goddess, you are up here. Putting you in A tier. You're not 100% perfect, but you are consistent and you show good promise. So let's go ahead and I do not know her. Alright, so for the chip speech banks, it's wildly varied. Like, some of them I remember by name, most of them I only know by the picture. However, this one I know for a fact I'm going to put in a D. Big Al, C. I don't know you. Bruno, my king. There you go. Rank B. Alright, I don't know you off the top of my head. Um, okay. I'm wondering if this is associated with a specific bank. I don't know it off of the top of my head. Does anyone know what that one is? Anybody? I'm checking chat now. There should be a little bit of delay, it looks like. Hang on. Um... Any hints? Okay, I'll just go ahead and move on for a sec. Chris? Yes. Yes. I am going to put you in B. I have used you a lot, and I know exactly where you belong on this list. You're not as high a quality bank, but your uses as a background vocalist are spectacular. So I'm going to go ahead and put you there. Let's see. You're a C. Clara. I am putting Clara in A tier. If you haven't heard my song Le Mer Mis Putas yet, please remember to listen to it after stream. Like, I have made Clara be the badass queen that she deserves to be. So, let's see. I don't know for sure on her. I know I don't own 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 her. So I have no right to discuss their positionings. However, the next 6 in a row, I do know. So let's go ahead and start with Cyber Songman. Great lead vocalist, has a few minor issues here and there. I am going to go ahead and put him in B tier. Alright. Cyber Diva, however, is a better vocalist on the whole. Putting her there. Diana. Foxy lady. Of all the V4s, she is one of the most stable I have ever worked with. She is going in S tier. Let's see here. You're an E. I'm sorry. Also E. Now, declat. Declat may be the one exception from the entire chip speech line. I remember his name because I've used him. He is the default, but he's also one of the best. I'm putting him in B. Let's go ahead and I do not know you. Bloop. Dex. Wolfie. Been a while. Hi. I use Dex for almost all of my point of view where it's actually me, the person, slash my character songs, unless otherwise stated. Sometimes my characters are Diana's, sometimes they're Oliver's, sometimes they're Yohio for crying out loud. But most of the time, it is Dex. So, up top. Alright, Eleanor Forte. I am putting you in E. I am sorry, Eleanor. This is nothing personal. You are a great voice bank. However, you were not released for commercial use properly for the version of SynthV that I have, so I can't make any heads or tails judgment on whether or not your full version is adequate. However, you are very popular, so I'm not going to F you. Okay? Sorry, language. Right. Next. I do not own her. Fukase. F minus. I'm sorry. Your license. Gakupo. Gakupo. I'm putting you in D. I don't own you, but just kidding. I have no right. I don't own Gakupo. I do not own you. I do not own you. Gumi. Gumi-chan. Gumi-chan. Where should I put you? I'm putting you in rank A. Here we go. I don't own you. 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 As you can see, there are a lot of voice banks that I would love to have, but the Utah ones I have no skill with, and some of these are just woof. Yohiloid, I would put you higher, but your voice actor is a piece of crap, so I'm gonna go ahead and say F. Alright. Yeah. Hey, been a while. I'm gonna go ahead and put you in C, because I believe that you are underrated. And also, your Chevio AI English voice bank is absolutely amazing from what I hear. And your Chevio standard voice bank, I can speak from personal experience, is fan-frickin-tastic. Seriously, if you don't have Chevio, get Chevio. It's amazing. Like, it will sing do, re, mi until you input lyrics. It's got a little bit different of lyric input than everywhere else, but it's worth it. Like, once you learn how to use Chevio, you don't want to unlearn it. I can say that much. Okay, so, okay, so, whole bunch again. I don't own, but let's go ahead and rank my Kermit boy, little blue Kermit. Kaito was my first legally owned voice bank on my own without me having to ask someone else to do a render. So I'm going to go ahead and put you in A, not just for nostalgia's sake, but because I do have more experience working with him, and it's pretty good. So for V3, you can't go wrong with Kaito V3 English. Let's see. Okay, Yori, I've used you as a backing vocal a couple times. You are pretty stable. You've never glitched out on me. I'm going to go ahead and put you in at D. Let's go ahead and I do not own her. Whoa. What is going on with my mouse today? Alright. Ken. buddy, I would say that you deserve higher than Kaori, but I haven't used you much more than her. So, you're also going in D. I am so sorry. Okay. Don't own, 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 don't own. I still have no idea who this is, but the character design is amazing. Don't know? Okay. So, Kagamine Len. I would put you higher than this, but I'm going to put you in C. And here's why. Len stands, no offense, right? Sometimes, y'all, like, I remember one of my first forays into being a main part of the community, and the first thing I read in news was that somebody spammed the Miku Expo Kickstarter with lens submissions. Like someone who did the paid, hey, we're going to recommend this song, please play it at Expo. They spammed it with Kagamine Lens songs, and the thing was it had to be a Miku song for those submissions. It was like, wait, what? It's like, ah. Anyway, that's why you're not any higher, Kagamine Len. I am so sorry. Your fans scare me. Leon. Nope. I do not own any of these. I will say, Lily, honey, I have no right to have an opinion. However, your use in memes, specifically Vocaloid Mafia memes, hence the title on my thumbnail on YouTube. Yes, please, just keep that up. And I don't remember who from my friend group started the Vocaloid Godmother, Vocaloid Mafia Godmother Lily meme. We need to amplify that just for the sake of, if the Vocaloid Mafia joke keeps circulating, there needs we need one voice bank to be it, and Lily is definitely the right fit for that. I do not own you. I do not own you. I do not own you. Okay, Megarine Luca. Her Japanese bank, I have trouble writing songs in Japanese in general, but I have had almost no issues cross-synthing the two English voice banks, which are both designed for cross-synth, thank the gods. And also, her her production quality is a little bit higher than other V4s, not quite like Dex and Diana for English, but that's also because she's a bilingual voice bank. Um, the accent sometimes does get in the way of proper enunciation. I am going to go ahead and put her in B tier. Same reason I put Arsloid there. Same reason I put Bruno there. She's great for what she gets used in. Sometimes she's also a great lead vocalist on her own. I'm just not that good at using her as a lead vocalist. I have to use Miku to back her up in order to make it understandable, because I'm just not that talented with this yet. I've only been doing this a year, so be patient, folks. Anyway, I don't own you. I don't own you. Maika. Alright, Maika. Girl, you are going up in the S category. Okay, the only reason I'm ranking her higher than Clara is because those extra phonemes, oh, good gods, they are so useful. So, to whomever got the brilliant idea to add extra phonemes to Mayaka, thank you. Alrighty, let's go ahead and... I don't own you. I don't own you. I don't own you. I don't own you. Oh, hi. So this is VY2. I don't know her character name, but I remember her character design. So, I have actually used you more than I've used Ken and Kaori, and I can vouch for your quality being decent. I'm gonna go ahead and put you in C tier. There we go. I don't own you. Mako. Mako. Ah, Mako-chan. Hi. I'm gonna go ahead and put you in C tier. I've only used you as a lead vocalist a few times, but the times I have used you, you've been great. I am going to probably move you when I go back to review over this before we start the main lecture, so just keep in mind your C placement, Mako, probably not permanent. Alright, I do not own you. I know I do not own you. Hi. Um, there we go. I, there we go. I do not own you. Do not own you. Hello, Miku. Alright, Miku as an idol, perfect S. As a voice bank, dot, 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 dot. I'm putting you in B tier. I'm sorry, Miku. I love you. Everyone loves you. But let's face it, for my purposes as a producer, mm, you're only, like, only a few characters of mine actually do need you. So, sorry, Miku. Bye. Okay, and I don't know you. And I don't know you. Okay. I do not own Miriam, so let's go ahead and do. I do not own you. I do not own you. Makne Nana! Makne Nana! Girl, you are so good at saying ooh and ooh and oh wow and let's just say very hard to do for a bilingual voice bank. I will go ahead and say you are A tier. There you go. Let's go ahead and no, I don't own you. I don't own you. Oliver, Oliver, buddy, get your eyes checked out. Hang on. Nope, no, I do own Oliver. I'm just trying to. There we go. Oliver. But seriously though, like for the early English voice banks, Oliver is well worth the purchase. If you do wind up going to Power FX, I am going to go ahead and vouch for that. Um, Not only is his voice more flexible in range than some of the other V3 voice banks, but for V3 English male voice banks, kind of hard to beat Oliver. Like, I mean, you see how low I rank Yo-Yo. Like, I would put him at C if it weren't for the fact his voice provider is a nightmare human being. I do not own you. I do not own you. Hi. I've used you once. I did not necessarily like how you had a tendency to not follow instructions. You are the second F I'm handing out tonight. Let's see. I also do not have Papa and Nana. I do not. I know you, Papa Nana, but I do not own you. Bloop. Parsec. Parsec. Lady Parsec. I do own you. Let's go ahead and move you up. You are about the same quality as Eleanor Forte, but without so much of the baggage. So I'm going to put you in D. Um, I do not own Petite Nana. I do not own Utane Pico. Alright. I have come to the conclusion I probably should look at the name. Will it let me see the name? It will not let me see the name. I still do not know who this is, the person I'm moving. So if you could mention her in chat, I'd appreciate it. It would make my life so much easier. I will just move her into the don't own category for now. Prima. Prima donna. You. One of the first divas in English. I am gonna say you are gonna be a D. Um, I like you as a lead vocalist, but I have issues tuning you, not just because you're a V2 bank, but there are other issues with your voice samples that I still haven't figured my way around. That may change over time, so give me a minute. I don't know her. I don't know her. I don't know her. I don't own her. I don't own her. Kagamine Rin. Let's go ahead and move you up into the main rankings. Alright. Rin stands. I'm sorry. I am only going to be putting Rin in B tier. The reason is similar to the reason I'm putting Len in C tier. Great vocalist, don't get me wrong. But, sometimes, again, it's not all Kagamine fans. I don't have really an issue with the Kagamines, personally, but sometimes Kagamine fans can just get a little, just weird. Um, Rin fans aren't as bad about it as Len fans. I have noticed that. Um, but at the same time, just Kagamine fans, chill out for a sec, take a deep breath, think about some things. Just, oof. Okay. With that, let's continue. I do not own her. 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 You. I have used you once, and I regretted it ever since. Right up. You are the second F minus I'm handing out. Ruby. Okay, girl, you really need to get a different PR team? Like, seriously. Alright, so here we go. Let's go ahead and put Ruby up on the main ranking. She is gonna get an E. Not because of the quality of her voice. Like, her quality of the voice would put her somewhere in the B and C range, if I were being honest. But I'm also being honest about my opinions about things going on in the fandom. And Ruby's drama? Good gods. Like, first, they change everything there is to know about her character. Then they rewrite it again. Then they rewrite it again and whitewash her. It's like, we were fine with that second rewrite. Like, why? Just why? Just, moving on. I don't know her. I don't know her. I know of her, but I don't own her. I've used you once. I didn't regret it as much as I regretted some of the other chip speech banks. Again, this might change as I improve in talent, but I am putting it in E. Alright, nope. A nope. A nope. A nope. A nope. A nope. And hi, Sonica. So let's go ahead and see where I put Sonica. Come on. Why aren't you oh, right, scrolling. Sonica. There you are. There you are on the main ranking part of the table. Yikes. Okay. Sonica, girl. For a V2, you are just as fire as some of the V3s I've used. However, I'm only putting you in B tier. I would put you higher, but I've only used you a handful of times. I don't know what it is with my problem with tuning V2s. I have a ton of problems tuning V2s. But until I don't own her. You know what, I'm gonna do this batch of these together. I'm just gonna go ahead and clear these that I don't own out of the way. Hi, Tats. Oh. You, Antonio. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so I don't know why they have VY in here twice. What the heck? Oh, oh. Is it because? Oh, right. It's because cool is Okay, so I need to remove cool provider. Different voice. Okay. Does anybody? I think is right. Yep. Here. I think that's where I had her. No, I think I had her. Okay, well, we'll reevaluate here in a bit. Then, talked about this one yet, so we will in a bit. Don't know you. Don't know you. Don't know you. Your character design is cute. Don't know you. Don't know you. Don't know you. Don't know you. Okay. Okay. As you can see, I own almost none of these voice banks. I primarily focused my collection on English voices, acknowledged. I have a few Japanese voices. I have all the Spanish voices. But, still, like, most of these voice banks are like, huh? To me. Um, I would love to know all of these voice banks' names.
No opinion. Save/download.
What?
Presentation mode.
Good gods.
Reset. Change background color. Save/download. Presentation mode.
Give me just a moment, folks.
Reset.
I'm having a technical difficulty. Okay. I hate when that happens. I do need to use text-to-speech a lot when I'm like severely anxious, like beyond the point of an anxiety attack. But like, yeah, no, not right now. Like, I'm fine. Just that was a heart attack and a half. For a minute, I thought I was getting comments, but then it was like, no, it's reading. As you can see, there are tons of variety in the voice bank and vocal synth fandom. You just have to go out and look for them. Like, I have no idea why Joey's Utao isn't in here, given how popular it seems to be. Or oh, what's his name? I keep seeing him in my feed. Friends with Hockey. I'm trying to think. There's one other voice bank in here from Utao that hey, I did not want to open. Stop. No. Yeah. I did not want to view the source code. Thank you. I'm trying to drag and drop. Anyway, there are a few Utao banks that I know the producers of that I don't know why they're not in here, because I know they're pretty popular among some of my friends. That being said, I own no Utao banks. I am trying to keep this list specifically to the ones I own, and just, as you can see, I don't own a lot. So there's a lot of room for free expression, there's a lot of room for creativity. All you have to do is pick your voice bank, pick your platform, learn how to use it, and you're good. But, again, so I'm going to go ahead and temporarily move the I don't know her list. Like, it's not just I don't know her in this case, it's I don't own most of these. I'm going to move the I don't knows up to the top so we can finish this in a more timely fashion. There we go. Bloop. Okay, pardon the, I just drank a whole bunch of tea here a little bit ago. Alright, Sweet Anne. Again, VY2s. Great. Except. So I'm going to go ahead and put her in D. V2s. I am sorry, I just do not have enough experience tuning V2 banks Sweet Ann, Prima, Sonica, I'm sorry you're not higher. Same for you, Big Al. Same for you. It's just same for Tonio here. Like, I am going to put Tonio in B because I do use him more, and I do have more experience tuning him. I'm a little bit better, just like with Sonica, but at the same time, I'm so scared of not being able to tune them properly. So that's a whole separate issue. I will need to reevaluate that here in a bit. But VY1, since I've got VY2 in here, um, I do use VY1 and VY2 more than I do use Ken and Kaori on average. Oh right, that's why I had VY2 and A. I am gonna put VY1 in B because I don't use VY1 that often. I don't know why. I just something. Just I honestly don't know. But here we've got the other chip speech banks, which are all C tier or below. Sorry. I'm sorry the highest ranked chip speech bank is Declat at B, but it's kind of the truth. Like I have issues with the other voice banks for completely different reasons, and like that's all that. So, now that I've ranked them based on usability and personal faves, I've also gonna walk you through the reason again why I put Fukase and Yo-Yo down here despite me being able to use them better. Fukase gets an F- on its own, simply because of the licensing agreement. I am sorry. I own you, yes, but I do not have commercial use of you. It's sort of like if I had some of these Utao banks, some of them do have separate commercial licenses, and I don't own those. It's like, it's almost as bad as not owning, even though I do own. And it's like, ugh. And then again, Yohiloid, because it's voice provider. Um, Going through here, Eleanor Forte, you specifically, there you are. You are down in E once again because your commercial license is no longer available for the version of SynthV that I use. I've only ever used your light version. I don't know what your full version is even like. I've heard your AI is going to be good. I don't know. Ruby, it's entirely because of the drama surrounding her character design and everything that wound up going wrong. She would be, as I said, a little bit higher up on the list otherwise. For Big Al, yeah, like I'm putting him at C just because of problems tuning, but also V2 I have generalized issues with in general. Ia, she's got a little bit more fan hype. I do acknowledge that. The reason she's in C, she is well worth it as a beginner voice bank, but I've only ever personally used her English voice bank, which means I only know her in Chevio. I don't know her in Vocaloid. I don't know her in the talk section of Chevio Studio, the other type of voice bank Chevio does. So I can't form a full opinion on her, which is why she's on C. Len, again, your fans, please get it together. Mako, I am going to go ahead and reconsider where I'm putting her. So let's, oh, right. Somehow the D's wound up, oh, that explains it now. Okay, there we go. That's better. I will be moving Mako here, but let's go ahead and go through the D's since I skipped those. Yikes. Okay. Dot, 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 dot. Okay. Ken and Kaori. I love you too. I do. But I still can't compose in Japanese as well. Um, Same problem, again, that I had with Big Al over here with these two. Um, I don't use either of them as much as I use Big Al or Tonio or Sonica. Um, I just don't. And I'm so sorry about that. Sorry, Prima. Sorry, Sweet Anne. Um, moving up to the Bs. Again, I have not had the chance to use Arsloid, so I think I put him in B, maybe just out of pure hype for when I finally do learn how to compose in Japanese. But I'm going to go ahead and swap him out with Mako, because Mako-chan does not deserve the seats here. TBH. Alright. Bruno, again, honey, I love you, but I am not that great with Spanish lyrics yet. Clara, I've managed to do really well with. Maika, I've managed to do really well with. You, on the other hand, I don't know what it is with me tuning you. It's not as bad as tuning a V2, just about. Chris, buddy, I know you are usually typecast as a background vocal. I am going to try my best to find a way to use you as a lead vocalist someday. But unfortunately, that day is not going to be today or anytime soon. So you will stay in B category until I figure out what I'm doing wrong with tuning and what everyone else is doing wrong with tuning to boost you up. Cyber Songman, again, um, buddy, you are doing great. You are on point for a lead vocalist. Unfortunately, the people who recorded your voice bank thought of Cyber Diva as more of a viable option. And as a result, the lack of quality shows. You deserved better, but you got what you got, and I am so sorry for that. VY1, VY2, I use you a lot in comparison to Ken and Kiori. Thank you for being great as background vocalists. Once I learn how to use you as lead vocalists, I will. Once I learn how to do Japanese vocalists properly, I will. But I'm bumping you both down to C's here. For the same reason I'm bumping Arsloid down. Not just because personal favorite or hype. It's just I need to like I need to stabilize my decisions, and putting you three up there shows that I'm so excited for learning how to write Japanese songs, despite the fact I can't yet, that I overinflated on my initial assessment. Magarine Luca. Girl, hair fire as usual. Perfect pink. I could listen to Luca Night Fever all night long. But they obviously didn't spend as much time on your English voice banks as they did on your Japanese, and that's partially because you are a bilingual voice bank. I do get that. However, I'm going to bump you up to A because your English voice banks, despite all of that, still high quality, still work well together. Miku, sorry. I wish I could bump you higher, but you are oversaturating the market. Again, I only use you for a handful of characters at most. I can't really bump you up. Sorry. Rin. Rin-chan. Again, your fans. Yikes. Sonica. Tonya. Both of you. Great vocals for V2. Two of the best. Again, you are only ranked this low because of my fears of tuning V2s and my lack of skill at it. So, again, I'm sorry. Okay. Amy, you are an amazing lead vocalist, but I've only used you as a lead vocalist once. Like, period. So, from personal experience, I can't bump you up to S tier because I just haven't used you yet. So, I think once I figure out how to properly tune Chris, once I figure out what that problem is, I'm going to go ahead and write a duet for you two. Or maybe a duet with you and Cyber Diva. See, maybe I might be able to squeeze you into my schedule a bit more. Ivana, honey, Harvest Goddess. I know Of the V3s, you are one of the best. However, I am bumping you down to B tier. And here's why. I like the songs that are written with you. I do. Like, a lot. And that's probably why I put you in A tier initially. But thinking on it, you are not as stable of a V3 voice bank as either Kaito or Gumi. And that's saying something. Because they're both originally Japanese voice banks. For an original English voice bank, you are one of the first. And for that, again, I'm grateful. But, honey, I've never been able to use you properly. So I'm sorry, Ivana. I am bumping you down to B tier. Cyber Diva, stay there for now. My opinion of you might go down over the years, but as it stands, you're fine. Clara, girl, not just nostalgia. Like, for some reason, I can tune you really well. So, you are staying in A tier despite being a solo Japanese voice bank, despite me having issues with Japanese lyrics and Spanish lyrics. You do Spanish lyrics better with me than any of the other voice banks that I have tried to do Spanish lyrics with. And I'm including Bruno. I am sorry, Bruno. It's just the facts. Gumi-chan, Kaito-chan. I am leaving you both where you are. Gumi, you get used a lot more than most. I will acknowledge this. However, um, you still get a lot of flack from the Western fandom for things completely unrelated. Like, seriously. Girl, you're fine. Your voice bank is flawless. Like, if you were upgraded to a V4, I would put you higher. But, same for Kaito. Kaito, you are amazing. I can't wait for your NT banks. But, at the same time, you're stuck at V3. I can't move you any higher just for that reason alone. Total fandom letdowns from both of your companies. I get it. You don't deserve that. Maknae Nana, high five. Like, you have the most expressive cute bank out of all of the younger characters. So good job. Also, you haven't glitched out on me as much as Ren. No offense, Ren, but I have easier time using your English voice bank, Maknae Nana, than I do using Kagami Ren. Them's the facts. I already talked to you, Luca. Oliver, buddy, get your eye checked out. But besides that, um, you were my first experience with Vocaloid prior to like actually owning Vocaloid. You were the first voice bank that I ever tried to tune when I was learning about what Vocaloid was, and that friend of mine introduced me. I think the reason I put you in A tier was just because of the lack of an update. But I'm gonna leave you there because I'm not absolutely sure that's the only reason I didn't put you in S tier. I'm just not sure. So I'm gonna leave you in A. Dex, Diana, Maika, you're fine. You three, stay S's. And the rest, I can't wait to get to know the rest of you throughout my time as a vocal synth producer. I might need another MacBook or another computer entirely to be able to use you, but I hope one day to be able to use all of you. With that, that introduces the Vocaloid Mafia to everybody. Hi, Mob Boss Lily over here. Let's see where she is. Where's Mob Boss Lily? Ah, there she is. She's over here being like, hey, hey, buy me. I'm like, you're on the list. You're on the very, very long list. Um, anyway, so first up, we are going to be discussing trans rights. And before that, a little primer. You might have heard the term transgender, right? Well, what does that mean? I'll go ahead and have Abigail Thorne explain it. Her video, Identity, a Trans Coming Out Story, is actually really amazing. But part 2, Abigail, is the part that I'm going to be playing here because it explains trans people telling their own stories. Um, we will be watching another one of Abigail Thorne's videos in its entirety, and it's her public statement on coming out, because we are going to be covering trans rights in the UK, and she does a pretty good job of handling the topic throughout the course of both this segment of her Identity a Trans Coming Out story, which I recommend you watch the whole video, but we're going to go ahead and watch this so you understand the general basics of what it means to be transgender. So, here we go.
I'm so glad I don't have to do the voice anymore. Okay. Hello. My name is Abigail Thorne. I'm the creator of PhilosophyTube. I do a lot of characters and visual metaphor and stuff on the show, so for the final part of today's episode, I wanted to drop the act, and for once, just to explain to you what's going on. So, first of all, this is not a joke. This is not a performance. It's not part of the theatre. This is real. I'm transgender. If you've seen any PhilosophyTube before, you might have known me by a different name, but off camera, all my friends and family call me Abigail, or Abby, or Abs, and everything I own is under that name. All my ID says Miss Abigail Thorne and female, and she went to the shops to pick up her groceries. I've been deliberately hiding it on this show for a long time. I mean, I think I started writing this script about a year ago, almost. As soon as we set up the cameras, I changed my clothes and I changed my body language, and I've been wearing big jackets to hide my breasts. And I talk like this! But actually, this is the real me. This is my coming out video. Behind the scenes, I've been doing all the legal stuff and being on waiting lists, which is a whole other story. But now I'm coming out. Although I suppose I actually came out ages ago, I just didn't tell you. So that's the first thing. I'm actually a woman. Cool. The second is, some of you are probably thinking, transgender? Sorry, what is that? And maybe you've heard about people being born in the wrong body. When other people write about us, that's often how they put it. And it's kind of an old-fashioned idea now. The way it works for me is, when I was born, they said, it's a boy. And this huge social and legal mechanism kicked into gear. There were official documents with boy written on them. I was sent to a boys' school. At the age of 5, I was legally boy, okay? And have you ever had a crappy job that just really wears you down? And sometimes it's all right, but it just starts to get to you, and that upset leaks into other areas of your life. You're tired all the time, but you also can't sleep, and you're anxious and depressed and irritable, and one day your partner turns on some music and you blow up at them. You go, can you turn that off for 5 minutes? I hate this song. And then you go, I'm sorry, it's not really you I'm angry at, it's this job. It's really killing me. I pretend like it's all right when I'm there, but I can't do it anymore. And I don't know if I can get a job doing anything else. I don't know if I'm qualified, if anyone else is even hiring, so I don't know what I'm going to do. But I know that a lot of other people would kill to have this job, and I know I wish I could just get on with it, but I can't, because it's not the right job for me. Well, that's what it was like for me, having to live as boy. Imagine that, but instead of your job, it's your whole life, including your body, all the time. And then one day, you pluck up the courage to quit that crappy job. And it's rough for a while, you try a few different things, but eventually you get a new job where you're happy and fulfilled, and they work you hard, but it's okay. And it doesn't solve all your problems overnight, but you start to sleep a little bit better. Your mental health starts to improve. The people who love you say, wow, you really seem like you're in a much better place. I'm really happy for you. Your relationships start clicking again. And then one day, you hear that same song on the radio and you go, you know what? I actually kind of like this. That's what this is like. And it's incredible. I never thought that I could be so simply happy. It's amazing. The old job was hard, but this, it's like I was made for it, which of course I was, because despite being legally blind, I could still see all the colors, and that's pretty much it.
Okay, so my stake in this fight. I am trans non-binary, they them pronouns, preferred name Tony, or you can call me Jeronis if you want, because that is my artist name. That is also my brand name. If you want, you can. I'm not stopping you. That said, currently there is a whole bunch of stuff going on in the UK and in the United States. There's almost nothing happening in Canada. Like, we're gonna go ahead and talk about Canada a little bit, but it's like... Sorry, give me a second. Sorry, I scarfed down a few chunks of my dinner while we were waiting. Okay. But there's a whole bunch happening in the US right now that is, like, borderline on, like, really, really awful. I am gonna try to move... Hang on. There we go. That's where the US is gonna be. So... let's go ahead and get started with the worst offender. Hi. Poland. Like right now. There are legal challenges faced by non-LGBT residents. Like, the status of LGBT rights in Poland is the worst among all of the European Union countries. And that is just the top line. That is just the top line. The first two sentences of LGBT rights in Poland is that bad. So, I've not read most of this, but Poland provides us with the same rights as heterosexuals in certain areas. We're allowed to donate blood, we're allowed to serve in the armed forces, we're allowed to change legal gender following requirements, including undergoing hormone replacement therapy. And Polish law does ban discrimination based on sexual orientation. But no protections for health services, hate crimes, or hate speech exist. They did finally, a couple of years ago, rule that it's illegal to deny goods and services without just cause. Moving down specifically to this year, the majority of Polish men, which is the voting population in Poland, unfortunately, believe that the LGBT movement and gender quote-unquote ideology is the biggest threat facing them in the 21st century. If you've paid any attention to anything going on in Poland right now, there are huge protest marches, not just pride marches, but like full-on protest marches going on right now over the treatment of LGBTQIA plus folks. There are entire sections of Poland where we're not even allowed to step foot. Like this. This is a map of Poland. The red is where we are not allowed to go. I'm not counting like county lines or anything, but like the red is where we are not allowed to go in Poland. Like Poland flat out bans us from almost just estimating based on the size, almost a third of the country. Just, we are not allowed to exist there. And that's part of the reason why there are the protests going on. There are, as I said, equality marches, protests. So Poland may be the worst offender. But the specifics on how to fix it, I don't know. I'm not from Poland. I don't know much of anything about their political system or what parties are involved or what parties take what position, because it might be one of those cases where both of the major parties or all of the major parties have some amount of anti-LGBT sentiment among them. Kind of like what's happening in the UK, but we'll get to that. Now let's start with, from this list, the best country. Hi Canada, I wish I lived you. They are literally adding new laws every year to protect us. In 2017, they passed one of the biggest ones, and gender identity is now a protected class in Canada. Has been for almost, well, actually, yeah, in like 2 months, it'll be like 4 years. So, yay, Canada, thank you. So, brownie points. Now, let's see here. Germany. This, wow. Trans people in Germany are subjected to a long, expensive assessment process to change legal gender. Efforts to introduce a new self-determination law have been delayed. The law is, as it currently stands, to quote one trans person's description of the experience, degrading, expensive, and illogical. So, effectively, same problems as the UK. Again, unlike the UK, where I have way more friends, and the United States and Canada, I don't have solutions to the issues in Germany. However, it is still the same basic issue as what's going on in the UK. It is degrading, expensive, and illogical to go through the legal process of changing gender in Germany. Now, let's go ahead and start dealing with the stuff in the UK. We are going to move back to Abigail Thorne's video real quick. I'm going to try to skip over her trying to explain more about the philosophy of how people describe us. So hang on.
When other people write about...
Yep, when other people write about us, check.
When are you having the surgery?
Yeah, that's a question I hear a lot, but I'm actually not planning on getting any. I'm just... oof.
Prevention and pain. Log that you might have been expecting about how ashamed...
Okay.
So my identity... trans woman. To paraphrase a great trans woman.
Okay, that's
Yet.
her paraphrasing.
It's a pretty
Contrapoints.
political...
There we go.
Man or a woman? A great trans woman.
Let's let her
A dear
quote
old friend.
contrapoints it because it's immediately after it.
I look inside myself and ask, do I feel like a man or a woman? And the answer is, I feel happy.
Yep.
I wish that I
here's
could
the problem.
end today's video there, and that is the end of the philosophy. But there's one more thing I need to add. Unfortunately, in my country, the UK, trans people don't have equal rights yet. It's a pretty big political controversy here at the moment. And because of my existing following, by coming out, I have now instantly become one of the most recognizable trans people in Britain. Hooray! I'm the transgender princess of Turf Island. But seriously though, with great platform comes great responsibility, and so there are some things that I need to say to my regular audience and potentially also the press. So I will record a separate little message that I will upload elsewhere, and I'll put it on all my social media. But hey, if you're just...
And moving to that separate message, give me just a moment. We are going to be getting to this playlist of videos that I selected last night, but we are going to watch the public statement that she made. After this technical commercial break, no, Grim Hollow. No Grim Hollow.
Hello,
There we go.
my name is Abigail Thorne. I'm a professional actress from Newcastle upon Tyne. I live in London and I'm the creator of PhilosophyTube, an educational show that teaches people about philosophy in a fun way. I started the show almost 7 years ago when the coalition government tripled tuition fees because I wanted to give away my philosophy degree for free. At time of recording, the show has just over 800,000 subscribers. In my most recent video, Identity, I came out as a transgender woman. Thank you to everyone who kept my secret for such a long time as I prepared to come out publicly. I'm excited to continue my acting career and PhilosophyTube. Please respect my privacy and treat everyone with kindness and patience, even those who don't treat me kindly. It's so lovely to finally know, to finally relax, to sleep well with sweet dreams and be at home in myself. But I'm also scared. Things are very, very bad for trans people in the UK right now, and they're getting worse. Because of my existing following, I have now instantly become one of the most recognizable trans people in the country, and I feel an enormous pressure to be good at it. Like, if I could only be clever enough, or pretty enough, or funny, or articulate enough, then things would magically come right. Alas, I can't be a perfect paragon of trans Britain. I'm just an actress. But I can relay the following facts. Trans people have existed for as long as there has been a Britain. Longer. But even after a century of feminism, the government still dictates what we can do with our own bodies. The NHS is forced by outdated rules to discriminate against us. If a cisgender, that is, not trans, woman, wants hormone replacement therapy for menopause, she can get it from the GP. But if a trans person needs the same medicine to transition, we are forced to travel to a separate clinic and be interrogated by psychiatrists. Because of this discrimination, waiting lists are years long. Women like me die waiting for the exact same medicine that bald men get from the GP to treat hair loss. Trans men die waiting for breast reduction surgery that cis women get for back pain. In England and Wales, people under 16 can get an abortion, which is permanent, but they can't get life-saving puberty blockers, which are reversible. Some government ministers promise to reduce waiting times, but that's not equality. It's just more efficient discrimination. We don't have equal legal rights either. When cis people get married or adopt children, they can use their passport as proof of ID. But we can't. Even though my passport says F for female, I'd have to beg the government's permission to become a wife or a mother. There has never been a trans MP, member of the House of Lords, MSP, MS, or MLA, and no party has equal rights as a policy goal. Trans people, especially trans people of colour, are hit hardest by unemployment, homelessness, and domestic, sexual, and police violence. But the conversation always focuses on wealthy white cis women tweeting about toilets. Overworked journalists often don't know much about our lives, so anti-feminists and religious extremists feed them pseudoscience and fear-mongering. Anti-Semitic conspiracy theories about a mythical trans lobby controlling universities and government are printed uncritically, alongside calls to have us cured with conversion therapy, which, shockingly, is still legal. Well-meaning folks, like yourself, sometimes worry about embarrassing themselves by saying the wrong thing, so they don't speak up to help us. Like suffragettes and black civil rights movements before us, we are told to watch our tone, lest the people who are denying us the means to live get hurt feelings. I might just be an actress, but as a feminist, I can't submit to civic inferiority or give up control of my body. In my view, feminism isn't a tea party with the Queen or a girl boss brunch with femspirational CEOs. It's our common struggle to be free. Today, I'd like to add my voice to the many demanding new legislation for trans equal rights. That is, an informed consent system of medical transition and a self-ID system of legal transition for all who desire it, including non-binary people. Everyone else in Britain gets their healthcare and gendered services that way. Surely it's only fair that we do too. In my mind, there's no question about it, just as there was no legitimate debate about whether to give gay and lesbian people equal rights. We don't cancel or silence flat earthers when we set aside their concerns about space travel and start listening to cosmonauts. That said, equal rights won't fix the poverty, criminalization, surveillance, and state violence facing all those who work for a living rather than own property and capital. Trans equality must be part of a huge redistribution of power and resources so society serves human need instead of profit. I hope that someday soon, people of all ages realize that being trans is perfectly normal. Like all human beings, we are inherently valuable and entitled to self-determination. And if that makes some people uncomfortable, well, it's only because they're choosing not to live in reality. These are scary times. But courage calls to courage everywhere, and its voice cannot be denied. Even when other people make it hard, being trans is a gift. My love goes out to every trans person within the sound of my voice, in Britain or overseas, especially those who can't come out yet. This above all, to thine own self be true, and it must follow as the night the day, thou canst not then be false to any man.
So you heard the things that she listed that were a constant struggle: the inequality when it comes to documentation, the inequality when it comes to medicine. Let's go ahead. And trans people in the UK are being crushed by relentless attacks from extremists. Where are our allies? In addition to all of that she just mentioned, there are severe cases of hate crimes and other violence. And then, remember that joke from earlier? Yay, she's the transgender princess of Turf Island. Well, even here, anti-trans rhetoric has gained allies among quote-unquote feminists within Great Britain. You may know one very particular one, J.K. Rowling, who is constantly cited by both the United States and British governments as a source to excuse discriminating against us. So, where do we go from here? Well, they did try to quote-unquote respond back in 2020, which was before she recorded her video, and lackluster is an understatement, given that by the time she was recording, that that proposed legislation didn't pass. It was lackluster, and even it didn't pass. Just, oh, frustrating. Meanwhile, here in the States, a surge of legislation targeting trans youth could come at the literal cost of lives. In a year that took devastating tolls on children across the country, transgender youth have faced an additional challenge, a surge in legislation that aims to curb their rights. Advocates are warning that the rise in bills targeting trans youth could worsen the mental health of an already vulnerable population, and it could come at the cost of literal lives. Legislators have introduced more than 75 bills in 2020 and 2021 that specifically target transgender youth, many of which concern health care and access to school sports, according to a tally from the ACLU. Jennifer Pizer, Law and Policy Director at Lambda Legal, told CBS News the number of bills is an unsettling and deeply disturbing show of ignorance and political targeting and lack of concern for the young people in particular, whose not just rights but lives are being set to be trampled by legislators. In Tennessee, where a bill banning transgender students from playing on sports teams that align with their gender has already passed, the House will soon consider a bill that would also ban gender affirmation surgeries or medications for prepubescent youth and for minors who have begun puberty who do not have signed statements from 2 physicians and at least 1 child psychiatrist. I'm going to pause there. Do you realize how hard it is to find a child psychiatrist outside of the big cities in Tennessee? Nearly impossible. It's already insanely difficult. This would make it impossible for most trans teens in Tennessee from ever being able to transition. The state would consider it child abuse for parents to violate these terms, and would consider violations by healthcare workers as professional misconduct. A bill from the State House would ban textbooks and instructional materials in public charter schools that, quote, promote, normalize, support, or address LGBTQ plus issues or lifestyles. And a bill from the state Senate would allow parents to have their child opt out of sexual orientation or gender identity curriculum without penalty. What this means, it's giving parents the right to decide whether or not to teach their children ignorance. It's like opting out of classes that teach about what we did to people of color throughout history. Like, giving them the option to opt out of that is the same, just on a completely different scale. Like, okay, when schools started opting out of teaching kids actual history when it comes to slavery and all of that, and racism, the entire topic, just nope. Several states, and several smaller counties within those states, chose to actively deny that anything ever happened, that there ever was any racism. This is the LGBTQ civil rights equivalent of that. On top of this, where it would make transitioning child abuse. It's ridiculous. It's fucking insane. Okay, here. Aiden Cloud, 18-year-old high school senior in Tennessee, told CBS News that these bills, as well as the others around the country, are demoralizing from transgender youth. It's super demoralizing to see legislators creating these bills, trying to pass these bills that are extremely hateful and disgusting. They're not even remotely educated on the community, nor do they care to be, as evidenced by banning the education about the community. Dr. Clinton Anderson, Deputy Chief for Psychology of the Public Interest of the American Psychological Association, also took issue with the bills that would classify allowing children to medically transition as child abuse. Now, there's a lot more here, and this article is really good. I would suggest you go to CBS News and check it out. I did read a whole chunk of it, and I know reading, so boring. But how do I put this? It gets worse. It's not just Tennessee doing this. Texas, Arkansas, Florida, whole bunch of states, like a lot of them. And I accidentally just closed the tab that I had all those videos saved in, didn't I? Well, crap. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and do this the old-fashioned way then. Right. Skip this, please. Thank you. I know CBS makes most of its money from ads. I don't care. This is important.
I just love being able to have
Nah. Pausing the ad, muting that. You do not need to hear Oprah right now. I'm trying to stay on topic, and this is getting frustrating. Ugh. There we go. There we go. Come on. Come on. Come on, come on. Knock it off, Discovery. Okay.
I'm afraid that by speaking here today, my words will be used against me should SB 1646 or SB 1311 pass. And my sweet son, whom I love more than life itself, will be taken from me. But here I am. I want you to know how hard it is for me to be here today. Not only am I terrified for the future of my family, but I'm a small business owner with 2 children at home who are still going to public school 100% online. I have a million better things to do than be here today, like rebuilding my business and supervising my children's online learning and repairing the damage that occurred to my home when the electric grid failed. But this committee and the bill's authors somehow deems my son's private medical care more important than COVID relief for women-owned small businesses or making public schools safer or fixing ERCOT. Honestly, these bills are a huge waste of time and tax dollars, but we're all here, so let's do this. When my son was 4 years old, he asked me if scientists could turn him into a boy. I didn't understand then that he was trans. I only knew that he wasn't like most girls his age and that something inside him was hurting. Like many of you, I thought he was asking for surgery and I freaked out. But after doing research, I came to understand that gender affirmation surgery isn't done on minors and that there is a whole array of medical options available for transgender youth, including hormone blockers, which are 100% reversible, are not new, and are clinically proven to save the lives of the trans children taking them. Today, my son is 13 years old, the most popular boy in the 7th grade, and loved by our friends, family, our church, and our community. This is possible because he has parents who affirm him and provide him the support he needs. Taking that support away from him, or worse, taking him away from his family, because we broke the law to provide that support, will have devastating and heartbreaking consequences.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so in Texas, it's not just deeming it child abuse right now. Like, Texas's version of these bills is just as horrible and worse than all of the other ones currently going on. It literally would give the state the right to rip children away from their families. For the families genuinely caring about their kid and doing the right thing for them. Like, Tennessee, yeah, it's pretty bad. Arkansas, yeah, it's really bad. Florida is setting up genital inspection stations, basically. It's a mess. It is a nightmare. Trans rights in the United States is. But right now, it is on the precipice of becoming worse in the States than it is in the UK, and you heard all of the things that were wrong in the UK earlier. Like, it fucking sucks. Like, I don't know what to tell you, folks. It is bad. So, what can we do about it? I had stuff pulled up. I had things that you could do in that big playlist of videos that I closed. So, let's go ahead and try to find all this stuff again. Here. This will work better than what I had. Alright. The anti-trans movement continues to manifest at alarming rates at the state level. Let's go ahead and go through the list, because lists are kind of easy. Alright. First up, you've got HB1, prohibits gender change therapy for minors and prohibits withholding of certain related informations from parents. SB10 does the same, in addition to being one of the most extreme anti-trans bills that makes it a felony to treat trans young people with any gender-affirming care, period. So, in Alabama, exactly the same problem as in Texas. So, be sure to contact your representatives and your congressmen. In Georgia, let's see here, this is school stuff related to sports. Georgia has the same. So, Georgia has the same generalized problem, except in addition to that, right now they are actually focusing solely on genital inspections for athletes, which is absolutely freaking disgusting. Just, ugh. What is wrong with people? Like, seriously, leave people to pee in peace. Mississippi. To require any public institution and NCAA, this is basically athletes again. Athletes again. Mississippi. Montana, also affecting athletes. And North Dakota, also athletes. So, here we go. Further down. Oklahoma, making certain medical treatments unlawful, providing definition, providing certain penalty. Per the bill's summary, it would make it illegal for a person under the age of 21 to undergo gender reassignment surgery. South Dakota, also, again, women's sports, specifically just women's sports. It's like, you're not even targeting transgender people. You're specifically targeting trans women with this. What the... Oh, we've already gone over Tennessee. So, how to help. Educate yourself on the bills. I've already mentioned them. Marie Claire has this list that I found. It's easily Googleable. Sorry, easily Googleable. If you want to go back and look at what I searched for, find the link. It'll show you access to all of the individual laws. A lot of these bills are happening under the radar. By continuing to learn and share information about the bills, you can help raise awareness and mobilize your community to take action. Contact your lawmakers, as I said earlier. Volunteer with your local ACLU. Donate to trans organizations. And it provides a nice little list. But, again, the United States, politics, just, like, this is all, and I'm going to see if I can try to find the video. Hang on. Texas. Hang on. Was it Vosh that I saw talking about this? Is it Vosh or was it TYT? It might be TYT. I'll check Vosh first. Like, specifically Texas. Hang on. No. This one's Florida that I saw Vosh talking about, and that's specifically about the athletes again. Let's see. It would be TYT then. Videos. Let's see here. Ah, here it is. the NCAA taking on anti-trans laws. Hang on. This might not be the right video, so I am going to minimize this just in case I specifically find one focusing on Texas. Well, there's the mom shaming them in that speech. Again, we'll go back to that. Let's see here. Okay, so this one's just focused on the athletes. This is probably the one I'm thinking of.
Texas.
Okay,
basically, and it also punished parents who help out their children in these medical conditions to make sure they live a happier life. So let's jump right into it from NBC News. The Senate Bill 1646 would make it a crime for parents to allow their transgender children to undergo a sex change. The bill heard in committee in the Texas Senate would redefine child abuse to include administering, supplying, or consenting to provide puberty suppression drugs, hormone replacement therapy, or surgical or medical procedures to anyone under 18, quote, for purposes of gender transitioning or gender reassignment. The measure would make such acts a felony.
Okay, so this isn't what I was thinking of either. It actually went further into the text of the law, what I was thinking of. So I'll go ahead and tell you what little bit I remember. The law specifically mentions trans people as being the target and exempts intersex people. Like, it's, like, I mean, technically good for the intersex people that they're acknowledging that intersex people actually exist, but the intersex community and the trans community do have slightly different goals in this regard now because Texas is specifically targeting trans people and just trans people. It's like, okay then. And it's actually written into the law, which is the worst part about it. It's like, all this freaking hate. And yet, nothing ever gets done to stop the haters. And it's not just haters, it's hateful, bigoted bullshit. It's like, okay, so you hear Taylor Swift talking about her haters all the time. It's like, no, this is like a whole nother level of hate. Like, ContraPoints made that distinction. Like, you can't really compare your haters as a public figure, Taylor, to the hate that gay people receive for being gay, or the hate that trans people receive for being trans, right? It's a completely different thing. But at the same time, we don't have a word that is worse than bigotry for this particular type of evil. For other types of evil, yeah, we've come up with words for it. But bigotry in and of itself isn't strong enough. If you've paid attention to, again, calling back to a famous anti-trans person, J.K. Rowling, she genuinely believes herself to be an ally to trans people and not be bigoted. But everything she says is anti-trans. It's so bizarre. And again, I would have to probably go through several different essays on J.K. Rowling's bigotry to point out all of the different nuances of this is what she's got wrong. But quite frankly, I don't know what I'm going to say. My personal stake in this. I live in Illinois. I'm privileged enough to live in Illinois, where technically I can't get fired just because of my gender identity. Technically, I can't be discriminated against because of my sexual orientation. On the exact opposite end, I live in the southeast corner. For context, you know that viral meme that went viral like right around January 6th of that one Illinois representative saying, quote, Hitler was right on something. That's my representative. My parents elected her. Okay? In context, that's where I live. So, the state of Illinois, great. I have that privilege. I have those protections. Where I live, those protections mean jack all. Right? So, I do live in fear. Not of my parents. My parents, they might There's a lot going on when it comes to my parents. I do care about them. They are my parents. But when it comes to my region, I had someone, a manager, no less, at my previous place of full-time employment, tell me, and I quote, no one around here is ever going to sympathize with your F-slur Jew ass. And it's like, okay then. The guy's still working at that particular location. Not affected in the least bit by me quitting. I quit because I knew they weren't going to fire him because he's way too skilled. Because that's the kind of region I live in. Skill is viewed as more important than preventing bullying, than preventing bigotry, than following corporate policy on both bigotry and bullying. So my stakes in this fight, sure, I live in Illinois. Big whoop. Until we are equal across all 50 states, there will probably not be a statewide measure to genuinely deal with the bigotry against us on the local level in Illinois or any other state until we are equal everywhere else and even in other countries. Like, congrats, hats off to Canada. Well done. Well done, Canada. You have successfully done what I would have loved for Illinois to do a long time ago. But Illinois won't change for the better when it comes to trans rights until everywhere else does. Because everywhere around where I live aligns so heavily with quote unquote the South, end quote. And by the South they mean the right wing, that they do not even acknowledge that racism exists, even when it's called out. Like, there are people that will acknowledge it. There are one or two people here and there, myself included, who see it every day. And yet, people like my parents will say that racism stopped existing as soon as the Civil War was over. It's like, no. What? It's ridiculous. And then when you call them out on it, they'll say, okay, fine, well, after the Civil Rights Movement. No. These are chronic problems. Racism, sexism, transphobia, homophobia, they are inherent in all of the problems facing this country right now. Economically, socially. Because bigotry has not been dealt with at the root, we're stuck in a perpetual never moving forward to fix things and perpetually backsliding on the handful of things that we took for granted as being ours. We thought we won the right to get married for those of us who are same gender and same gender attracted specifically. Gays, lesbians, people who are non-binary, who are attracted to someone of the same physical sex, etc. We thought we won that. But no, they will willingly start to take that away the minute they think it is politically feasible for them. And that is exactly what they're doing with trans rights right now. They are actively trying to take away my right to exist as a person in some of these places. Yeah, sure, I'm an adult. These laws would not affect me. But the thing is, once you ban it for kids, what's to stop you from banning it from adults, right? It's kind of like what happened when they banned certain types of drugs. They started with the kids and then expanded the bans to adults. And the right wing follows the same pattern. Try to regulate out of existence that which you can't make illegal. And when you can make it illegal, jump on the chance. That's exactly what the right wing is doing here. I would love to be non-political about this. But the problem is, it is all just one party in the United States doing this. In the UK, all the parties have a problem with it. Period. Like all the parties are at fault there. Like across the board. Here in the United States, one party in particular really trying to stick it to us. And one party not doing enough. And everyone else just left out in the cold without any answers. So what can we do? Again, if you live in one of these states, talk to your lawmakers. And if you don't, talk to your lawmakers anyway. Get them to take a stand. Try to get them to take a stand at the very least against what is happening in these other states. Because the more politicians speak out at the local and state level, regardless of what state it is, on these particular bills, the more political pressure is placed on the individuals trying to make our existence illegal. Volunteer with the ACLU. Donate to trans organizations. Educate yourself on the bills. Like, Marie Claire did a great job of getting that list. So, thank you for your time. I know I've lost 2 of you, and I'm back down to 1. I appreciate you staying with me to the end. I'm not very good at these presentations. I will admit that. I had more planned. Heck, I was gonna... Here. Before we go, this is a trans girl who pulled herself out of school, asked her parents to take her to the Texas legislature to read a letter she wrote to them, effectively.
It makes me sad that some politicians use trans kids like me to get votes from people who hate me just because I exist. Hello, my name is Kaya Shapley. I love ballet, math, science, and geology. I spend my free time with my cats, chickens, FaceTiming my friends, and dreaming of when I will finally meet Dolly Parton. I do not like spending my free time asking adults to make good choices. I've been having to explain myself since I was 3 or 4 years old. Texas legislators have been attacking me since pre-K. I am in 4th grade now. When it comes to bills that target trans youth, I immediately feel angry. It's been very scary and overwhelming. It makes me sad that some politicians use trans kids like me to get votes from people who hate me just because I exist. God made me. God loves me for who I am, and God does not make mistakes. You should be careful how you treat the least of these. Please just listen to me, hear me, try to educate yourselves, try to understand everybody. My mom has been giving everything she has to stand up for me. With these new things y'all are trying to do, we both are having to advocate for each other because you are now targeting a great mom and a great nurse. My mom needs her nursing license to take care of me and my siblings. Bullying is bad. Please stop. Don't make bad choices. It's never too late to turn it around. And I want to say thank you to those of you who are sticking up for kids like me. By the time I am in college, you will be celebrated in the history books.
Thank you for your testimony, Kai. Thank you for being here. And do we have any questions? Any questions for Kai? All right.
Seriously, none of y'all want to know more about me?
That was a kid. It is to the point that we have to have kids try to advocate for their own rights. And I know this has been happening with the mainline civil rights movement for years. I know this has been happening in regards to gun violence for years. But it's affecting our community, the trans community, the most right now. And she's not the only person. She's just the only one who gave testimony in a public forum. That's a kid. Do you realize how much effort it takes for a kid to be able to explain themselves to legislators clearly? She has been through hell already. And what they're going to do in Texas will literally rip her family apart. So no, I'm upset that more people didn't stick around. I'm upset that more people didn't stay to watch. But I'm glad you stayed. Those of you who are still here. I appreciate that there are other people who care about this issue as much as I do. I do have a dog in this fight. It's just far away, and it will be a long time before any change happens where I currently am. But if we can stop these bills, if we can find a way to put enough pressure on Texas and on Tennessee and Georgia, the Dakotas, all of these places where we are no longer even remotely considered equal by the Republican Party in the United States, we can improve things. If we can stop these bills, there is a decent chance we'll be able to fix it. In the UK, the fight is just as bad. In Germany, the fight is also pretty bleak. In Poland, oh good lord, I have no freaking clue how that's going to be handled. I could not find anything on Ireland, and I'm sorry, I did try to find stuff on Ireland. It looks like Ireland and Canada are both pretty okay-ish. Like, I'll try finding... I'm on Bing now instead of Google, maybe. Maybe I can find something in Ireland. I know I'm rambling at this point. Trans rights in Ireland. Ding ding ding. Okay. Okay. Government of Ireland initially appealed the court's decision but dropped its appeal. The Gender Recognition Act of 2015 permits Irish citizens to change his or her gender on government documents through self-determination. The law does not require any medical intervention by the applicant or assessment by the state. Persons aged 16 to 18 must secure a court order to exempt them from the normal requirements. So Ireland is still doing better than the United States in most regards. Yay. Yay, Ireland. Yay, Canada. Well done. Well done. So, but everywhere else, it's not good, folks. Like, seriously. But thank you for sticking around. This is heavy topic matter. Most people don't want to hear it. This is going to be an ongoing, protracted fight. And it's going to be a very, very, very long political battle that may not end in my lifetime. Which, I mean, is probably going to be shorter than most of y'all, but even if it winds up being as long as some people say it's going to be, it's probably not going to happen in my lifetime. And it's like, well, that sucks. But still got to keep fighting. And just got to keep not allowing myself to give into hopelessness on this. Like, again, I'm not going to play it, but I will go ahead and show you a video on how to deal with hopelessness, because it's something I have to remember whenever I talk about topics like this. Again, I know I'm rambling. Let's see here. Yeah, those are the right videos, just not the right links. Reddit, 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 Reddit. Good gods. Let's just go to Carlos's channel, for crying out loud. Carlos. Oh, hey.
Hi.
Hey, I've got some...
Am I live? I assume I am, because I usually am when it tells me I am.
Oh,
Hi guys, how's it going? Long time no see.
Oh, it's the Carlos's live stream. Never mind, I thought someone was in my Discord. Damn it, Carlos. Not your fault, bud. But here. His essay on how to be hopeless, it's a pretty good essay, and it helps dispel what little bit of hopelessness I feel every single time I tackle any one of these issues. So, again, I know he's been memed to death, but check that out as well. Just as a little bit of self-care after dealing with some of the other issues that we've talked about today. Because, quite frankly, we all need it. With that, I am sorry I went so long. I am, again, not the best at these, but ladies, gentlemen, everyone in between, everyone exempt, everyone floating violently between the extremes, friends and enemies alike, be safe, be